I am getting down to the bottom of it. The question we have all been asking ourselves, do I have good taste? I'm gonna be ranking all of the books that I've given 5 stars in the past 4 years and discovering if I still love these books, if I had a lobotomy at some point in my life and am very much questioning my tastes. We're gonna find out. I did a ranking of all of my favorite books from 2014 to 2020. So if you want to watch that, I will link it down below. This is now gonna be an updated ranking of all of my 5 stars from 2021 until today, present day. And we're gonna see if I still love them, if I need to leave the internet in disgrace for my poor choices. So here are the tiers that I'm using to rank all of these books. At the top, we have all-time faves, my favorite books then, my favorite books now, always and forever will be my favorite books. Next we have Stand By It. These are ones that not necessarily are all-time faves, but I still stand by my 5-star rating. Then we have It's Good, Not Great. These will be ones that I maybe would like lower to a 4-star. It's not a full 5 stars, but I still think it's a good book. Then we have You Had to Be There. These are ones that I don't think that they are 5 stars for me now. They were back then. I stand by Past Riley's choice to make them a 5-star. I'm not gonna go against her and her judgment. Kurt Riley doesn't share the same beliefs as Past Riley. You Just Had to Be There. And then I have I Take It Back. These are ones I fully take it back. I was wrong. I'm admitting that I'm wrong. We can all be wrong occasionally, once in a while. Even I, occasionally, can be wrong. Let's just get into the ranking. I have like over 90 books here. All right, so we are going to start up first. We have the classic Pride and Prejudice. This was not the first time that I read it, but it was a reread, and I'm counting rereads in this. And this is an all-time fave. I have loved this book since the very first time that I read it. I still love it now. I will always, always stand by Pride and Prejudice being a favorite book of mine. Next up, we have 2 books by Sarah Gran, who is an author that I discovered in the past couple of years, and I have loved her. Come Closer. I really loved this book. I don't think it's an all-time fave, but I do stand by it. It's a great demonic possession horror. Probably one of the best that I've read. And then The Book of the Most Precious Substance, I also loved. This book is so hard to describe. It's about sex, magic, and rituals, and occult underworlds. It's not an all-time fave again, but I stand by it. I think Sarah Gran is like such a great writer, and both of these books are so different from each other, but I love them and I am excited for whatever she writes next. Next up, we have the only Bridgerton book that I've given 5 stars. And that is An Offer with a Gentleman by Julia Quinn. This is Benedict's book, for anyone who does not know. It's definitely not an all-time fave. I don't think I stand by it. I have since seen quotes from this book that I'm like, did I read this book with my eyes closed? Because the quotes are questionable. Benedict was very unlike his TV show counterpart in this book. I think I had a moment in time where I really was obsessed with Bridgerton. I read a lot of the books. I didn't really love any of them. So I think this one was my favorite of the ones that I read, and I was comparing it to the other books. Compared to the other books, sure, this one's 5 stars, but I think I had to be there. I think I had to be there in my mindset of being obsessed with Bridgerton. Honestly, of all of the historical romances I've ever read, the Bridgerton series ranks very low. So he had to be there. He had to be there in my Bridgerton obsession. That has come and gone. It has come and gone. But speaking of a historical romance that is amazing, Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I'm putting it at all-time fave. This is one of my all-time favorite historical romances. This is a Viking historical romance with a deaf heroine who I loved. It is such a sweet, sweet romance. Lots of caretaking. It was beautiful. I loved this book so much. Next, we have Rolling in the Deep, which is the novella that accompanies Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which is one of my all-time favorite horror books. I really, really love Rolling in the Deep, and I'm gonna put it in Stand By It. I think it's great. Next I have Confessions, which I love. It's not an all-time favorite, but it is definitely up there with my favorite thrillers. I love this book. Like every single little plot twist, the way the story unfolds, it's just so brilliant. Next I have Girl in the Tower. I weirdly read this entire trilogy, which you guys know, I'm not a series finisher. I don't finish series ever. The fact that this is one of the few series that I've ever finished, I can't tell you a single thing about it. Don't remember anything about any of the books. So I'm gonna put You Had to Be There. I don't think that they were bad books. I'm sure they were great and I loved them for a reason. I just don't remember those reasons, and I think you had to be there. Heartstone, this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, but with dragons, and I stand by it. I think it's really, really fun. Obviously, like, not an all-time favorite. I'm not gonna put it up here with Pride and Prejudice. Sorry to Miss L. Catherine White, she is no Jane Austen, but if you love Pride and Prejudice a lot and you love dragons, I think I read this at the very perfect time. It was the height of me loving dragons and wanting dragon books. I love Pride and Prejudice so much. It was just exactly what I wanted. Murders of Molly Southbourne. This is a short little horror novella about clones, and I definitely stand by it. Not an all-time fave, but I think it's great. Sinner by Sierra Simone. This is a taboo nun romance. I have very conflicting feelings about Sierra Simone right now after reading American Queen, which is the worst romance book I've ever read in my life. It's definitely not an all-time fave. I don't know if I fully stand by 5 stars. This was a book that I read right after I had surgery, and I think it's one of those things that's like, that's exactly what I needed to distract myself, and I think I gave it 5 stars because of that. I think it's good. I think it's good. I don't know if I would stand by 5 stars, but it's no American Queen. I'll put it that way. My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I am definitely gonna stand by this. Again, not an all-time fave. I don't think I have a Grady Hendrix book that is like an all-time favorite book of mine, although he is an author that I love and I've read all of his books. My Best Friend's Exorcism is the only one that I've given 5 stars, I think. I'm pretty sure. And I stand by it. I think it's his best. Next up, we have Pestilence and Famine. These are books 1 and 2 in the Four Horsemen series by Laura Thalassa. Books 2 and 4, I did not give 5 stars. So these are the only ones that I gave 5 stars, and you know, I stand by them. I think these books are so fun. I really love this series, and I loved both of these for different reasons, but I stand by it. I stand by it, you know? Are they the best written things in the world? No. No. But I think they're so fun, and for me, like, I love post-apocalyptic books, and I will read any single one that I can get my hands on, and then you sprinkle in spicy romance into that. I was eating it up. I was feasting on the Four Horsemen. Next up, I have Ninth House and Hellbent, which I love, 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 love. Stand by them. I think these are fantastic. I cannot wait to reread them. I think these are gonna be the type of books that get even better and better the more times that you read them. But for having only read both of them one time, they're both 5 stars and I love them, and I can't wait to reread and for them to get even better. In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. Ooh, you know, this one, is it an all-time fave? I thought this book was so cool, so clever. I think this is one of the most cleverly written books that I've ever read. It's a memoir, but it's written, each little chapter is written in the style of a different writing trope or writing theme, writing exercise. It's just really cool. It's one of those books you kind of just have to read and experience because it's unlike anything that I've ever read before. I think for now I'm gonna put it in Stand By It. I might reevaluate. Right now I'm being very selective with this all-time fave tier, but I definitely stand by it. I think that's such an amazing book. We have another historical romance. We have The Prince of Broadway by Joanna Shupe, who is an author that I know that I love. I'm gonna put this in Stand By It. I love this series. I can't remember if this is the 2nd or the 3rd book. I think I read the series out of order, so I'm not sure. But I think I gave every book in this series 5 stars. I really loved it. So fun. Then we have the Mindfuck series. This one was a reread, and I not only stand by it, she's an all-time fave. Miss Lana Myers, queen of my heart, lover of my soul. And anyone who says this book is bad, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it. You're wrong. Like I said at the beginning of this video, we can all be wrong at least once. This might be your one time to be wrong. Before we get into the rest of this ranking, I need to tell you guys about this amazing chair that I am obsessed with. And thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. This is the FlexiSpot XR C7 recliner. It is one of the most spacious, big, comfy chairs that I've ever had. It rocks back and forth and also swivels 360 degrees. The fabric is so thick and soft and nice. It feels very comfortable. It's the perfect chair for people like me who cannot sit in a chair without putting my legs up or sitting crisscross. There is enough space for me to lounge in any position that I want and still be comfortable. It also has a huge side pocket that is basically like a little drawer that you can keep a book in, your TV remotes, snacks, and putting it together was so easy. I was able to do it by myself. It only took me like 15 minutes. And if you want to have the perfect reading setup and get a chair just like this, FlexiSpot is running a Black Friday promotion on the XRC7 chair where you can save an extra $30 with a coupon on prices already below $300. And this deal is running from now that you are seeing this video until December 31st. So you can click the link in the description to check it out and have the most comfortable lounging experience. And once again, thank you to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. Okay, then I have Kim Ji-young, born 1982. I love this book. This book is a fictional story about the life of Kim Ji-young, but the way that it's written, you feel like she's a real person. So amazing. It's a very short book, but so captivating, just following her life, and I fully stand by it. That book was amazing. I actually need to buy myself a physical copy. Forget Me Not by QB Tyler. I'm gonna put this in You Had to Be There. You Had to Be There. I'm gonna make a prediction that this You Had to Be There tier is gonna be a lot of romances. My taste in romances has changed over the past few years. What I used to like is not what I like anymore. And I'm not gonna go so far as to say like that the romance books that I liked many years ago were bad, or that I'm wrong for having liked them. That was what I liked at the time. I'm just different now. I'm different now. These aren't books that I love anymore, not ones that I would recommend, but I loved them at a particular time. You had to be there. You had to be there. Although this one I'm tempted to take it back. This one I'm tempted to take it back because the guy in this book is a cheater. I don't remember why I let that slide. I'm not sure. I'll put it in You Had to Be There. I feel like if I read this book now, this guy would give me the ick. My disdain for men has just grown exponentially over the years. I think back when I read this, I let men get away with a little bit more than I would now. Honey Girl, I think this book is good, not great. I did really enjoy this book when I read it. I'd actually be curious to see how I feel if I reread it. I think part of my issue with this book is that when I read it as an arc, and I think before it came out, it was really marketed as like a romance, a sapphic romance, and that's just not what it's about. So I went into it with the wrong expectations. It's really about like a coming of age story, but I don't think it's a bad book. I just don't know that I fully stand by 5 stars. Maybe I'd go like 4 stars. Then we have The Doctor and the Pool Boy by Nikki Sloan. These are kind of like taboo romances. The doctor is ex-boyfriend's father, and the pool boy is like an age gap. They're both age gaps, actually. I think I'm gonna put the doctor in It's Good Not Great. I have since read many ex-boyfriend, boyfriends, dad romances, and this one's fine. Actually, I'm gonna put it in You Had to Be There. That one, it's fine. I've read better. I've read way better. The Pool Boy, though, I'm gonna put, I don't think I would give it 5 stars now, so I'm gonna do It's Good Not Great. I do think this is a good book, especially if you want an age gap where the woman is older. This one is good. It's not a 5 star for me personally anymore. After Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, I'm putting in Stand By It. I loved this book and Talia Hibbert in general. I don't think that there's a Talia Hibbert book that I loved that I would take back now. I think all of her books are great. Okay, then we have all of these T. Kingfisher books right here. This was when I discovered T. Kingfisher, and these are her only books that I've given 5 stars. So we have The Hollow Places, Nettle and Bone, and Sword Heart. And you guys, you already know. They're all going up here. All going up there. I love her. She's my favorite author. I have since now read like 12, 13, 14 books by her. These are the reigning supreme ones. The creme de la creme, the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Next up we have Hench, which I've actually read twice now in this time frame, and I stand by it. I read it in, I think, 2021, and then again at the beginning of this year, and I think it's so fun. Such a great superhero villain origin story. I always say it feels like The Boys. If you really like The Boys and Gen V and that whole world, I think you would like Hench. All right, next up I have Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. This is a really fun paranormal romance series. This is the first one in the series, and I think the only one that I had given 5 stars. I don't know that it's 5 stars anymore or now. I do think it's good. I just think I would lower it maybe to like a 4. So I'm gonna put it in It's Good Not Great. I think this whole series kind of is like 4 stars across the board. Next I have The Midnight Girls. This one is a YA sapphic fantasy that I really loved. I think again I'm gonna put this one in It's actually, do I stand by it? Oh my god. I wish I like had something in between here. I guess I'll put it, I don't fully stand by it being 5 stars. I think when I read it, I gave it 4 stars and then I upped it to 5 stars, and now I think I'm putting it back down to 4 stars. But it is really great if you like YA fantasy and you want legitimate enemies to lovers sapphic romance. Iron Widow by Sharon J. Zhao. I read this one this year, and it's possible this could go to all-time fave. For now, I'm gonna put it in Stand By It. I'm so tempted to put it here though. I loved this book. All right, I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna put it there for now. And that's what it deserves. That's what it deserves. I'll put it there for now. The sequel comes out very, very soon. I'm so excited to see how it ends. Next, we have The Push by Ashley Audrain. I'm gonna put this one in Stand By It. It's not an all-time fave. This one is like a psychological drama. It's not a thriller. I know a lot of people say it's a thriller. I wouldn't say that. It's about a mother who basically believes that her child is evil. I thought it was great. It's not a favorite, but I loved it. Next, we have Finlay Donovan. This is the first book. I read the first 3 books in this series, and I've now quit the series. Book 1 was definitely my favorite, the only one that I gave 5 stars, and then progressively, I think they got worse. And the 3rd book soured my taste for the whole series, that I don't stand by this anymore. I'm just gonna put this in You Had to Be There. Okay, here's the thing. I don't take it back, but I don't recommend this series anymore. I think this is a book that should have been a standalone, but it did so well that the author was like, well, let me write 1,000 of them. It drags. The plot lines aren't wrapped up. It's all over the place. I think it's not good. It's not good. I think You Had to Be There with that one. Next is They Never Learn, which is a thriller that I love, 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 love. Definitely stand by it. I don't know if it's an all-time favorite. It's definitely a favorite thriller if I'm like talking about all my favorite thrillers. But if I'm talking about like my all-time favorite books, I think I'm gonna put it in I Stand By It. I have thrillers that I love way more than this one, but there are very few thrillers that I gave 5 stars and that I love. This is one of the few. Next, we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I have also read twice. And interestingly, the first time that I read this, it was not 5 stars. But when I read it earlier this year, I did give it 5 stars. So I'm just gonna put that I stand by it. I think it's a 5-star book. I really, really loved this. I think I enjoyed it more the second time because I knew where it was going. I knew what to expect. I think the character development in this book is amazing. Next, we have The Traitor Queen, which is the second book to The Bridge Kingdom. I'm gonna put It's Good Not Great. I do like this series, but it's definitely not the best fantasy romance out there. There's definitely better. I just think these were really fun. I would say that they're like 4-star books. Next, we have The Patient by Jasper DeWitt, which is a horror novella that I loved. I'm definitely standing by it. I think this one was so fun. Definitely takes you in unexpected places, and I loved where it went. I loved the ending. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, I'm putting in all-time favorite. This is one of my favorite sci-fi books, if not my all-time favorite sci-fi book. I love this book so much. This is the book that I actually recommend to the most people offline. Like anytime in real life somebody asks me for a book recommendation, the first thing I ask them is, do you like sci-fi? And if they say yes or anything that's not a no, I say, well, then you should read Project Hail Mary. I've gotten most members of my family to read this book and everybody loves it. And I always feel very confident recommending it to people. Another sci-fi, The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. This one I actually read for the first time in 2020, so prior to when we're doing this ranking, but I just reread it because I'm finishing the series. I'm actually currently almost done with book 2. Which is not on this list yet, but based on how book 2 is going, it will be a 5-star and in all-time fave alongside The First Sister. The First Sister, amazing. Sci-fi series, so queer, space opera, wars in space. This first book deals a lot with bodily autonomy. It's actually very current. So current right now with what is going on in our country. A lot of like parallels. It was a very odd experience, and I realized the 2 times that I read this were both election years. For some reason, the election happens and I'm like, you know what I want to read? The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin, I love so much. I do want to put this in all-time fave. I do think at some point I want to reread it and see if I still feel that way because again, my taste in romance has changed a lot, but I'm going to leave it in all-time fave for now because I do think that it is an all-time favorite. Very dark. It's like a dark, historical, pirate. Yeah, I do think it's great. I do want to reread it at some point though. Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. It's Good Not Great. I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it in It's Good Not Great. I think I would lower it to a 4-star. Anything that I would lower to a 4-star goes in here. Goes in this one. So I did enjoy it. It's not my favorite of his books. It's also not the worst of his books that I've read. Next we have 2 Sophie Lark books. These are 2 books in her Brutal Birthright Mafia series. We have Brutal Prince, which I believe is book 1, and Bloody Heart, which I think is book 4. I'm putting these in You Had to Be There. We're gonna see. This was just a time in my romance reading history when this was the romance that I wanted and I was seeking out and I liked. And it's just not what I like now, but I do remember really loving these. I do. And then speaking of, we have 2 Tessa Bailey books. It Happened One Summer and Window Shopping again. I feel really bad about this. I just think where my taste in books have changed drastically over the past few years is romance. And that makes sense because I read so much romance for like such a long period of time. I was just like everything I read was romance. I read so much of it that I kind of got bored with certain things. Some things got less exciting. What I liked changed. It's just different now. It's different now. I think I'm gonna put Window Shopping in It's Good Not Great. You know, I'll put these in It's Good Not Great. Not You Had to Be There. I will put these in It's Good Not Great. I have feelings about Tessa Bailey now where I probably wouldn't pick up another one of her books. These were good. These were good. I don't have to put all the romance in You Had to Be There. Okay, next we have A Dowry of Blood, which you guys know, all-time favorite. This is like one of my top tier all-time favorite books and I love it so much. I've read it many times at this point. Next we have a historical romance called Waiting for a Scot Like You. It's either Stand By It or it's an all-time favorite. Because if we're talking about like my favorite historical romances that I've read in the past few years, it's definitely Waiting for a Scot Like You and Never Seduce a Scot. Oh my god, maybe I just like Scots. maybe I just like Scottish men. Maybe that's what's happening here. I think I'll put it up there. I really love it. This one is an age gap, older woman, younger man, where she is recently widowed and she just, with her newfound freedom, wants to go to an orgy and needs this Scottish man to accompany her. It's so fun. All right, next is a horror novella called This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno. I'm gonna put this in Stand By It. I really love this book. This one's really hard to recommend to people and to like explain what it's about. It gets very weird, very like cosmic horror energy, and I loved it. Next is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers, and I think I'm gonna put this in all-time fave. I love this book. This book is a fictional memoir about a serial killer who is in prison for committing the crimes of cannibalism. And the whole book is just her, you know, talking about her life, and occasionally she eats people. Next is Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRoe. This is a romance I think I'm gonna keep in Stand By It. I stand by this one, okay? This one's like a horror romance. It's about like demons and cults and ritual sacrifices, and it was so fun. This is a reminder, I need to finish this series. I think I stand by this one. Now, will I regret that in like a year? Maybe, I don't know. Right now, I stand by it. Next, we have 2 Jennifer Hartman books, Still Beating and Lotus. These are all-time favorites, okay? I do want to reread them at some point, but of all the romances that I've read in the past few years, these ones, there was just something that Jennifer Hartman hit on in these 2 books that really touched me and like spoke to me. Since then, have her books done that? No. No, they haven't. But these two, they had the magic sauce. All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This is a more recent read. I don't know yet if it's an all-time favorite. Sometimes with the all-time favorites, it's like it has to marinate. You know, this one, I don't know that this one's marinated long enough. I'm gonna put it in I Stand By It. Eventually, it could move up. But for now, it's I Stand By It. Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. This is a sci-fi horror that I thought was so fun. I'm gonna stand by it. It's not an all-time favorite, but I did really, really enjoy this one. Goddess of Filth. This is a horror novella that kind of has like The Craft vibes about this group of friends, and one of them gets possessed by a goddess. And it's very fun. Loved it. Stand by it. Neon Gods by Katie Robert. When I was collecting the books for this ranking and I saw that I gave this book 5 stars, when I tell you the shock that ran through me, I was like, what is happening here? Because I've never liked this series, and I feel like it's been well documented on my channel that I say all the time I didn't like this series. So I don't know why this one was 5 stars. Don't know why I gave this one 5 stars. I take this one back. That's the first I take it back. Here's the thing. I think there was a period of time where I loved Katie Robert. I read all of her books. I was a stan. I was part of her Patreon. I loved her books. That time has come and gone. I don't feel that way anymore. There are some of her books that I would still say that I enjoy and like I recommend. This one, I don't think I ever liked this book. So I was on that stan level. I was like, I love everything that she does. I think I was being nice. I was being generous. Because it's not good. My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. This one is an all-time favorite. I love this horror book. This one is like a slasher vibe. The main character is obsessed with slashers and starts to believe that she is in a real-life slasher in her town. Oh, it's just so great. Like, if you love horror movies, it is kind of like an ode and a love letter to horror. Then we all know Wayward Children is going up here, all-time favorite. I mean, this whole series is all-time favorites. If I had to say, I would do like Stand By It for Where the Drowned Girls Go, and Lost in the Moment of Found is an all-time fave because I do think that this is my new favorite book of the series, like overall. Things have gotten worse since we last spoke. I'm gonna put in Stand By It. This is a very creepy horror book, very creepy, very weird, very unsettling, but it did exactly what it was meant to do, and I stand by how I felt. Women Eating by Claire Coda. This one is a vampire book that doesn't feel like a vampire book, and I love it so much. I don't know if it's an all-time favorite. I feel like it's kind of similar-ish to A Certain Hunger in like vibes, but I don't feel as strongly about it as I do A Certain Hunger. I do love it. It is a 5-star book, and I recommend it all the time. I don't know that it's not this level. It's not that level, so we'll put it there. Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This is a dark Peter Pan romance. This is another one I'm gonna put in You Had to Be There. You Had to Be There. I don't think I would like this book now. I do have a couple other books in the series that I want to read. We will see how that goes. I don't think current me would love this book. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This one, you know what? I'm actually gonna put this in as good, not great. I did give this 5 stars when I read it. I think I immediately, though, lowered it to 4 stars on Goodreads. So I'm gonna put it in as good, not great. Mary by Nat Cassidy. This one, ooh, I think this goes an all-time fave, honestly. I read this over the summer and I loved it. Definitely, I think is accompanying the list of my favorite horror books ever. I think about this book all the time, and so it has to be an all-time favorite. Then we have The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, which I think I'm also gonna put this one in It's Good Not Great. I think I would lower this to a 4 star. I do think this is really fun, especially if you want a romance book that has like magical elements to it. The World Gives Way by Marissa Levian. I'm gonna put this one in, I don't know if this is an all-time fave. I definitely stand by it being 5 stars. I really love this book. It's a sci-fi book. It is so creative and fun. I definitely stand by it. I'll leave it there for now. I'll leave it there for now. This tier is just getting a little packed. I'm like, does everything belong up here? But they do. So I'm being a little selective now. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife and The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. These are 2 of my favorite thrillers. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife is definitely an all-time favorite. I love this book, and I know that might be a controversial opinion. I love it, and I don't care what anyone else thinks. And then The Last Housewife I'll put here, and I stand by it, because if I have to choose between these 2, I like In My Dreams I Hold a Knife more. Give Me More by Sarah Kate. This is the 3rd book in her Salacious Players Club series. I'm gonna put this in It's Good Not Great. I think this one, again, I've lowered to a 4 star. I think this whole series is kind of like 4 stars for me in what I've read so far. I did just recently get the Sapphic book in the series, and when I read that one might be a 5 star. My Dearest Darkest by Kayla Cunningham. This is a YA Sapphic horror book that I'm gonna put in It's Good Not Great. I did really love this book. Again, 4 stars. The books in this tier, I feel bad putting them this low, but it's like, it's not that I don't like them. I just don't think it's a 5 star in my heart anymore. Twisted Love by Anna Huang. I think I'll put this in You Had to Be There. I wouldn't take it back. Would I take it back? I don't know. You Had to Be There. You Had to Be There. Again, this is another one. I don't think I would like it now. All right, Slewfoot by Brahm. That is an all-time favorite. I love that book so much. I do want to reread it at some point. This one is like a good for her revenge horror book where she accidentally summons a demonic entity. Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. This one is a very recent read. I actually think this might be the last book that I have given 5 stars. So I'm definitely gonna put in Stand By It. I don't know if it's an all-time favorite, but I definitely stand by it for sure. Legends and Lattes. I love this book. I am gonna put it in all-time favorite. This is my favorite cozy fantasy. I have read so many at this point, and this one's dare I say, I still think it's the best. It's probably because I compare everything to it, but I love it so much. Silver Under Nightfall by Rin Chupeco. Ooh, I do think this could go in all-time favorite. I definitely stand by it. I think however the sequel goes will determine, like same with Iron Widow. These are both first books in duologies, and I think a lot of these other books are like standalones. I do think depending on how the sequels go, it will determine where these stand, because it could affect my feelings, but I think Silver Under Nightfall is an all-time favorite. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and Emily Wilde's Maps of the Other Lands. I love these books. I don't know if Emily Wilde is an all-time favorite. I do really, I love them though. I don't know that they're all-time favorite. You know what? I'll put the first one in all-time favorite and the second one in Stand By It. I'll put it there for now. I might rearrange things when we're done. All right, next we have Flawless and Heartless by Elsie Silver. I'm gonna put these in all-time fave. I love this series so much. I have actually finished the series, but you guys will see that in a vlog coming up soon. So for now, we just have these two, but potentially there's another book or multiple other books in the series that might be right alongside it. Who knows? Who knows? The long-awaited book, Fourth Wing. We had to talk about it. We had to get here. Okay, my gut tells me I want to take it back, but I don't. I think you had to be there. I think you had to be there. I really did love Fourth Wing, and I still think I stand by loving it. However, Iron Flame clouded all of the feelings that I have around Fourth Wing. I can't think about Fourth Wing as a solitary thing anymore. Iron Flame clouded everything. How I feel about Rebecca Yarros clouded everything. There's so many conflicting thoughts and feelings. I'm just gonna say you had to be there. I don't take it back. The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw. I kind of want to put this in all-time fave. I love this book so much, which I think is controversial because this book is very lowly rated. I just think this is so great. It is a horror book about a mermaid seeking revenge against the world. She wants to burn the world down. There's also a romance in here that I was obsessed with. I just think this one like hit on all of these things that I love, and I loved it, and I'm gonna put it in all-time fave. Oh my god, I forgot a T. Kingfisher book. Here's Thornhedge. I'm gonna put this one in Stand By It. It's not one of my, up here with my all-time favorite T. Kingfisher books, but I do stand by this one. Actually, I think when I first read this, I gave it 4 stars, and then I reread it and I upped it to 5 stars. I do really, really love this one. This one is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but I thought the way that it did the retelling was so clever. Next, I have Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson, which I'm gonna put in all-time favorite. Unfortunately, I don't think I've had a book this year that is my Bloom, that is my A Dowry of Blood, that is my Sword Heart. Like, these were all books that when I read them in that year, it was my obsession. It was my end-all be-all. Next, I have Out There by Kate Folk. I'm gonna put this in Stand By It. This is a collection of short stories, like sci-fi, Black Mirror vibes, and it is probably one of the only short story collections that I actually like. Next, I have The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. This is a horror book, and I'm gonna put this in Stand By It. I loved this one. The Honey Witch, I'm gonna put this one in Stand By It. Ugh, or is an all-time favorite. This is another one I think needs to marinate. I think, check back in a year. We'll see how I feel. I definitely stand by it. I loved this book. I thought it was so cute. You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This is another one. Like, this one and All Roads Lead Here are 2 romances that I read this year that I think could be all-time favorites eventually. For now, I'll put it in Stand By It. Same with Butcher and Blackbird. This one I don't think would be an all-time favorite. This one I just stand by. I stand by Butcher and Blackbird. I think it was so fun. Funny story, another one that could be an all-time favorite. This one is my all-time favorite, Emily Henry. I don't know if it goes up here yet. The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I think I'll put this one in It's Good, Not Great. I really did love this book. I think part of the reason why I gave this one 5 stars is I went into it with such low expectations. I thought I would enjoy it. I didn't think I would love it as much as they did. This one is about a woman who is alone in her house and she writes a bad review for a book, and then the author like starts stalking her. So it felt very prevalent for me in my life. I stand by it. I'm talking myself into it. I'm talking myself into it. I really did think this book was fun. Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. I stand by. I stand by it. I don't care what none of you bitches say. I don't care. I loved this book. This book made me feel the way that I did the first time I discovered Twilight, and anything that gives me that like nostalgia and like that sense of being 13 years old and becoming so obsessed with something, I'm gonna love. You know, as a person who's nearly 30, I just want to feel like I'm 13 again, okay? I think this is the last one. Oh my god, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I think I'll put this one in I Stand By It. I thought this book was really fun. It's one of the only like witchy romances I've read that I actually enjoyed. So I stand by it. I stand by it, and I can't wait for the second book. Here's my ranking. Here's my ranking. Oh my god, you know what? There's not that many that I took back or that I don't still like. Considering if you watched the first part, or the first one I did of this from all the previous years, I think there's a lot more that I took back. To be fair though, for a lot of those years I was a teenager reading those books. I don't think my taste has changed that much in the past few years, with the exception of romance. I only take one book back, and that is Neon Gods. I genuinely don't know what was happening when I rated this 5 stars. Pretty much everything in here is like either a romance I don't feel the same about anymore, or a series I don't remember, a series I fell out of love with, another series I fell out of love with. Okay, let me just make sure my all-time favorites. There's nothing I want to change. I think a lot of these books in Stand By It eventually could move up, especially the ones that I read more recently. This feels right. I like this. I like this ranking. So honestly, I think based on this, I gotta say, I think I have good taste. If we are actually conducting this experiment to determine if I have good taste or not, I think I do. You can let me know if you feel that way in the comments. I'm actually pleasantly surprised and happy to see that the majority of these books are ones that I still hold in high regard and still like and enjoy and love and recommend. I was worried that there were gonna be so many of them that I was like embarrassed by and that I had to take back, and then I would lose my credibility as a book reviewer. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon where I post tons of exclusive content. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!